All right, let's talk about civil rights. And we'll talk about three particular incidents that happened post World War II during the Cold War. One is the famous Brown versus the Board of Education court case. This took place in Topeka, Kansas, where father of an 8-year-old girl, Oliver Brown, sued to have his girl attend the all-white school. In Topeka, Kansas, they had the separate but equal rule, where they claimed that separate facilities were equal and gave children equal opportunity. But of course, the white schools were good, and the schools for African Americans were bad. So he sued to have his daughter go to the all-white school. There he is with his family. His 8-year-old is in front. There they are protesting outside the state capitol. Here's what the old African American classrooms look like. You can see the only heating element in this classroom is a wood stove in the middle. And here is Oliver Brown's daughter talking to a white classmate. This court case went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Changing the slide. And up at the Supreme Court, it was argued by future Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, who worked for the NAACP. There he is later in life when he was a Supreme Court Justice. The Browns won this court case, and the federal government said that the separate but equal laws were inherently unfair. President Eisenhower vowed to obey what the court said, even though governors in the South said they were going to ignore it. And there's the team that argued the case for the Browns. So that led to contention in the South. It was the first crack in the separate but equal wall that kept people separate in the South. Next slide, was the Montgomery bus boycott, and this one I know you've heard about. This is Rosa Parks' boycott. She was a seamstress that refused to give up her seat after a long day at work for a white man, even though she was sitting in the black-only section of the bus. Didn't matter where you sat, you were supposed to stand up. What they didn't know is she was also a part-time secretary for the local office of the NAACP. And the NAACP took her court case up because she was arrested the bus driver called the police, and she was arrested for violating segregation laws. Here she is getting booked, and here is Rosa Parks' mugshot. Next slide. African Americans in Birmingham refused to ride the bus. Here they are walking. The spokesman for the boycott was a young pastor by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. There he is at that young age. Here he is after getting arrested in Montgomery for protesting. 50,000 African Americans refused to ride. A very slim margin did ride. A lot of white people had to go pick up their maids because their maids were not riding the bus, but they still wanted those maids to come to work. Here they are marching. The Supreme Court again ruled that segregation of buses was unconstitutional. So separate but equal, again, found to be inherently unfair and unconstitutional. Next slide. In Little Rock, Arkansas, Governor, I don't know how you could get elected with this name today, but his name was Orville Faubus, claimed he could not keep order if he was forced to integrate the schools, like the Brown versus Board of Education site said. Here he is holding a sign on TV saying against racial integration of all schools within the Little Rock School District. He refused to enforce it. So he placed the Arkansas National Guard at Little Rock High School to prevent 9 African Americans from attending that school. Aha, touche. That's how he would fix the problem. And there are the 9. There's the high school, which looks very much today like it did back then. That lady must be embarrassed for being such a bigot, captured for all time in pictures. President Eisenhower did what he can do during that time, what a president can do. He took control of the Arkansas National Guard, meaning he federalized it, and he sent the National Guard in to, which means he sent U.S. Army soldiers in to protect those nine students who enrolled at Little Rock. There they are. I love this picture of this guy who was probably all high and mighty about protesting until he saw the soldiers with bayonets. And he was like, oh, stupid soldiers. There they are walking the kids in, and here they are walking the kids out. All right, that's the end of part 1.